G'day and welcome back to another episode of Walkabouter's Guide to Australia.
Recognise this place? We're at Botany Bay, back in Australia. This, as well as being the scene for the very first modern day Australian experience, this is also the scene for our very first episode of Walkabouter's Guide to Australia, all those years ago. We're in the Southern Hemisphere, we're in Australia, we're at a place called Botany Bay. This is where Australia kind of started, after the Dreamtime. Oh no. It's also the birthplace of modern Australia. This is a contentious issue because the country was kind of cool before us white fellas came and took it over and ruined it. Someone has graffitied around the corner here. But why are we back here? Am I just going to go to everywhere I've already been before? Maybe. I'm going to give my wrist a rest by not having to draw a new cartoon and just show my previous cartoon about Captain Cook discovering Australia. Captain Cook discovered this bit of land right here in 1770, a while back now. Long ago, when nightmares sailed the sea, adventurer and explorer James Cook captained the HMS Endeavour on a voyage of discovery and romance. Or so he daydreamed, for you see the Endeavour was little more than a scientific barge, everything from star mapping missions to transporting cups of tea. On one such desperately boring mission to Tahiti, to illustrate Venus crossing the sun for the king, Cook missed the whole thing completely, with the fear of being beheaded by the tyrant King George, mixed with his boyhood longing for adventure, and with a dash of Tahiti drink. Shakespearean-like Captain Cook ordered the Endeavour to head south, to seek out an undiscovered country, from whose bourne no traveller returns. Little did Cook know, Shakespeare was talking about death. Long had there been myth and legend of a great southern land, mostly coming from Dutch and Spanish explorers who had already discovered Australia. But Captain Cook was going to do it for England and her encyclopedias. On the 28th of April, 1770, the Endeavour anchored in a beautiful bay. Cook and his men went ashore. The Gaweagle mob watched them from the bushes, cautiously. While planting the Union Jack for King George, the indigenous Australians made themselves and their spears known. With their flags safely in the ground, the Endeavour crew quickly retreated, but not before shooting one Aborigine in the leg. With a bleeding ankle and a pompous British flag fluttering in the breeze of the Endeavour's escape, the Aborigines could be forgiven for being baffled at the morning's occurrence. After some time, the Gaweagle mob grew to hate the flapping cloth. So they began a corroboree, summoning spirits from the Dreamtime, to fly a kookaburra and cockatoo to England and plant the Aborigine flag there and see how they like it. So later in London, King George was preparing to knock off Cook's head for failing to document Venus crossing the sun in illustration form when the Aboriginal flag harpooned upon the front lawn of Buckingham House. Mistaking the flag's amber sun for Venus, the king thanked Cook and let him continue voyages of discovery. But more about those dark tales when we visit Hawaii. Actually, Hawaii and Australia have a lot in common. They're both on planet Earth. But more about those dark tales when we visit Hawaii. Well, here we are. King George wasn't satisfied with the gift of a brand new continent. So 9 years later, he dragged Cook out of retirement to travel the high seas once again, this time to Hawaii, to learn how to surf and bring that crucial knowledge back to England. And as we know, that knowledge never made it back to England. Halfway down the half-pipe, Cook dropped in on none other than Hawaii's best surfer, the Big Kahuna himself. Captain Cook had interrupted the Hawaiian Pro and won it. On the journey up Diamond Head to crown Cook as the new Big Kahuna, the old one got jealous and hit him over the head with a brick. Cook died of a blood clot to the brain 4 weeks later, and his pineapple-coated skeleton still remains atop Diamond Head Embankment Cliff, Mountain Peak, Volcano, today. Today, Captain Cook is remembered for discovering a place that was already there, and we honour him by painting his head on garbage bins. This is what he said about Indigenous Aussies. In reality, they are far more happier than we Europeans. The earth, the sea, furnishes them with all things necessary for life. Love him or hate him, hero or villain, today, a lot of people enjoy this earth and this sea of Australia, thanks to him and the people who followed after to Botany Bay. That's right, this is where Captain Cook landed in 1770. Black paint. Time to leave this place again. Let's go to another 100 or so places. No wait, 1,000 places. And then we'll come back here and do it all over again. Thank you so much for not unsubscribing. I love you.